another raw video from your favorite YouTube scout, Draftrawthentic. Yes, I'm finally here making another video. Like I said, it's a raw one, so there will be no edits. Anyway, if you're seeing this video, it's the 32 for 32 draft breakdown series. Obviously, from the title, I am on the Houston Texans. Yes, I've already done the North, East, and West for both AFC and NFC, and right now I am on the Southern divisions, specifically the AFC South. If you're seeing this video, I've already done the Tennessee Titans and the Jacksonville Jaguars, so right now I'm on the Houston Texans. So you know what? Instead of wasting your time with all this talk, let's just get into it. With their first pick, they didn't have a first-round pick and they didn't have a second-round pick because of this trade for Deshaun Watson. To me, it's a great trade, what they did, so they're going to build on that. But with their first pick in the third round, they chose Justin Reid. Now, Justin Reid, let me just say this. Justin Reid is a guy that I think got hyped up a lot because he's a brother of Eric Reid. And not because the Eric Reid kneeling situation. It was because, obviously, because he's a brother. I think he just got hyped up so much of possibly being a great player that when he came this year, when I saw him play, I didn't see the player that people was hyping up. And I think that he gives you a lot of solid stuff, but I don't think he's a game-changing type of safety. The Texans got a guy that I think could be an alternating safety in terms of you could put him out there as a free safety. You could put him out there as a strong safety. I think he would make more of a living as a strong safety, obviously. He's, to me, just like his brother. You know, strong safety is probably his best position. But I think overall, when it comes to Justin Reid, you just got a solid player. And like Eric Reid, he's a solid player. He's not a game changer neither. They're just solid players that can make plays here and there. But having, you know, certain other players that you can get into the fold with, if they end up keeping Honey Badger for giving him an extension on his contract after the season or whatever, because I know it's a one-year contract, then pairing him up with a Justin Reid probably wouldn't be a bad idea. They probably will make a good combination and they can really fortify that defense for what that front seven already gives you. Now, with their next pick, they chose Martinez Rankin. Now, obviously, they chose him because of I don't think they have a left tackle, technically. I think that the left tackle that they do have is an okay tackle. Yeah, because they don't have Dwayne Brown anymore. What you get is a guy that he does have a chance to play left tackle. Now, to me, he's a guy that's a tackle only. So it's only left tackle or right tackle. There's no guard or center in his future. He's a tackle only guy. He's a guy that does need to improve on a lot of things, though. I think that he does have good length and good size. But obviously, good coaching will get him to the point where he can be, not to say a perennial pro bowling type of tackle, but a guy that can be a solid tackle for years to come, like a Dwayne Brown. With Martinez, I think that his feet are not as great, but they're not so bad to a point where he needs to move inside. Or he needs to just be a right tackle. He has good enough feet that I think that he can survive in the NFL like a Dwayne Brown. And obviously the length is there. Like I said, all of those tools are already there. It's just the way he's going to take it. And most of the time when it comes to players, it's never the player and their skill set. Most of the time a player busts. And when I say skill set, some players get overhyped and yeah, they weren't good in the first place. But injury is something that you can't predict. So if that happens, you know, that's with any prospect. But also it's mental makeup and mindset. Some players can't handle the pressure. Some players, from where they grew up, do things a certain way and can't do it the way that a coaching staff want them to do. And I'm not talking about the actual play. I'm talking about stuff outside of football. And that really hinders players. If you notice, a lot of players that become busts, it's not just because of injury. And it's not because of their skill set. It's also because when it comes to the outside world, they can't do it. And when I mean outside world, when it comes to that pressure at the end, they just can't do it. So it is what it is. But going on to the next pick, they chose Jordan Atkins, tight end from UCF. Pretty athletic tight end. I didn't think of nothing special of him. He's just a pretty solid tight end. You know, it's pretty much kind of what the Texans have had for years in years. Like, they haven't had, besides James Daniels, I believe that was his name, or James Casey. No, James Casey was like a fullback tight end, but I forgot. Owen Daniels. That's all I was thinking about. Owen Daniels, who was probably the best tight end that they ever had in their history, even though it's not that long. CJ Federitz, that type of tight end, like, it's just, you're repeating the same thing. They need to get an explosive tight end. He does have explosive abilities, but I don't know if he's going to turn out to be that explosive, great, route running, separating, catch everything tight end. He could turn out to be, first couple years Martellus Bennett, where he's just kind of like, he needs to figure it out himself, or, he could spark up to being what Evan Ingram gave the Giants this past year. So, who knows? I don't think he's that, but who knows? We'll see. So then when it gets to that next pick, they chose Keke Coutee from Texas Tech. Now, he's a smallish receiver that is like a gadget type of receiver. Quadri Henderson like Keke Coutee. I believe there was another player that was kind of like in that version of him. I wouldn't say Braxton Berrios, but I guess you could put them all in the same row because they're all like 5'9" and under. But Keke Coutee, the only things that I didn't like about him was he just, that Texas Tech offense is terrible. I mean, in terms of the simple fact is that there's not a lot of routes run, and it's a lot of quick throwing, so you don't get a perspective of, does this guy separate? Or you don't get good perspective of him as a receiver. It just seems like he's just running around all over the place. So when it comes to him, I think that he's a solid gadget receiver. I think that he gives you the return ability. He gives you a deep threat as a smaller guy. But once again, we've seen these guys before. He's no Antonio Brown. He's not that. You know what I mean? You're not going to get a Sterling Shepard out of this guy. You're going to get those gadget receivers that just kind of make plays. Maybe you get a Tyreek Hill, but Tyreek Hill is a lot more special. Tyreek Hill is a little bit more different. But who knows? Maybe you do get that from him. I just don't see it. Now, I know that it seems like I'm harping on the Houston Texans and their draft picks, but it's just the perspective of what I thought before they drafted these players, not what I think afterwards. I'm giving some perspective of what I think afterwards in terms of the roster side and stuff like that, but before they drafted them, this is what I thought. And it is what it is. So in their next pick, they chose Duke Ejiofor from Wake Forest. Now, I had this weird thing where, but it was this weird thing that happened with him. Anytime he played on the strong side of a defense, he rushed to the outside. And every time he played on the weak side of a defense, he rushed to the inside. It seemed like he always went to his left when he tried to rush the passer. I think that that's a telltale sign that if he tries to do that in the NFL, it's not going to work. I'm not going to say he's a bad pass rusher, but obviously he's a 6th-round pick. There was a reason why he slid that low. To me, he doesn't have a plethora of pass rusher moves, which explain, the whole weak side, strong side thing. But also, when it comes to him, is that it's not just that. It's literally just rushing the passer, period. Like, if he was to stay on the strong side the whole time, there's no plethora of things that he does. If he would stay on the weak, there's no plethora. He's pretty much doing the same thing over and over and over again, and it's getting him nowhere. He's just trying to use his athleticism because that's where it's got him, throughout high school and maybe throughout practice and throughout his couple of years in college before this past season. But not saying that it's a bad pick, but I don't think it's a great pick. So, to me, it is what it is. But if you see it, if you're looking at this video, check his tape. I'm telling you, you're going to see it, you're going to be like, wow, that's crazy. This dude is kind of right. But, hey, Houston Texans. We'll see. Try to build. Then with their last 3 picks, I've said this in plenty of videos. I use 2 different websites to look up prospects, obviously before the draft happens, and before the, mostly sometimes before the combine. And none of these prospects I got to see. Their names weren't on either of the website's lists. So Jordan Thomas, tight end from Mississippi State, didn't get to see him. Peter Kalambai outside linebacker from Stanford, didn't get to see him. And Jermaine Kelly, cornerback from San Jose State, didn't get to see him. So, I'm sorry about that. I'm prospect out. I don't feel like watching any more prospect videos. I watched like over 200 guys. And if, 200, and it's more than one tape, yeah. Think about that. 200 guys, and I'm watching at the least 2 tapes. Mostly 3. So if I average about 3, because sometimes I watch 4, that's about 600 videos I'm watching of players. So I'm prospect out. I don't want to watch anymore. But anyway, overall, I think that this draft, it could have been better. I think that they could have done a better job in picking certain guys. But that's just my perspective. These are professional scouts. So maybe they know something that I don't know, and maybe I need to work on what, certain in terms of scouting and seeing stuff differently. But this is just what I think of what I saw. So anyway, if you like this video, please hit that like button. If you want to see more draft breakdowns from me, please subscribe to the channel. If you didn't like what I had to say about any of these Houston Texans draft picks, please comment so we can debate about it. Please share this video so other people can join the debate and we can have this huge draft community. Once and again, this is Draft Raw Authentic. I thank you for watching. Goodbye.